The Adventurers Guild and the Pyro Archon have joined forces to combat the increasing threat of the Abyss in Natlan. A new strategy has been implemented, focusing on gathering and sharing intelligence across the land. This approach allows for quicker response times to enemy activity, with stationed forces ready to take immediate action upon notification. The shift in tactics also provides an opportunity for some well-deserved rest for those who have been working tirelessly to keep Natlan safe. The Abyss's movements remain unpredictable, with periods of sudden increased activity. Many in Natlan view these occurrences as natural disasters, hoping for a swift return to normalcy. However, the true severity of the situation in the Night Kingdom remains unknown to most. Meanwhile, the legendary forger of ancient names, Xilonen, is set to make an appearance, raising excitement and anticipation among those aware of the significance of ancient names in Natlan's culture. Xilonen faces a challenging task requested by the Pyro Archon, forging an ancient name for an outlander, which is considered an impossible feat. Ancient names in Natlan are symbols of heroic glory, passed down through generations. They are forged by engraving the heroic deeds of an individual, but these deeds must be recognized and recorded by the Wab, the spiritual essence of Natlan. The difficulty lies in the fact that an outlander's actions, regardless of their heroism, are not acknowledged by the land's collective memory. Despite the seeming impossibility of the task, Xilonen accepts the challenge, viewing it as an affirmation of their abilities by the Pyro Archon. The key to success lies in finding a way for the Wab to acknowledge the traveler's existence and record their heroic deeds. To navigate this unprecedented situation, the group decides to seek the counsel of Seloy, an expert on the Night Kingdom and the Wab. Known as Granny Eatwo, Seloy is a renowned but eccentric figure whose assistance could be crucial in finding a solution to this complex problem. The conversation reveals that the plan involves 6 heroes, with Xilonen being one of 4 already acknowledged. The group decides to assist Seloy in investigating the disappearance of Ororon and a captain, viewing it as an opportunity to make amends for previously breaking her spirit speaker stone. This strategy, devised by Molly, aims to gain Seloy's cooperation while addressing an important matter. The group arranges to meet at the stadium in 2 days, hoping that their carefully thought-out approach will yield positive results. Upon arriving at the stadium, the group finds that Seloy has not responded to their request, causing initial disappointment. However, they remain hopeful for a chance to speak with her in person. The conversation shifts to the relationship between the people of Natlan and the Pyro Archon, revealing a more egalitarian dynamic than expected. The Archon is described as powerful yet approachable, fostering a sense of friendship rather than strict hierarchy among her subjects. In a surprising turn of events, Seloy reveals herself to be present, overhearing the group's conversation. Contrary to expectations, she appears much younger than her title, Granny Eatwo, suggests, leading to a humorous exchange about age and appearances. Seloy explains that she had intended to attend the meeting all along, having received Kenichi's letter. Her late arrival and initial silence were due to contemplating how to phrase her apology, only to overhear the group's frustrated comments about her perceived absence. The speaker reflects on a story they've just shared, noting they didn't owe an explanation. They observe someone's embarrassed expression, wondering if the Masters of the Night struggle to deal with this person. The speaker comments on the awkwardness and forced nature of the person's actions and words. They then address someone named Xilonen, mentioning a request for help in crafting an ancient name, acknowledging the uniqueness of the situation. The speaker discusses a request to forge an ancient name for an outlander, noting it's unprecedented. They mention someone named Aeron, describing him as a good kid who likely didn't join the Fowls willingly. The speaker agrees to help bring Aeron back in exchange for assistance with the ancient name problem. They then address the traveler, inviting them closer for examination. The speaker provides a poetic description of the traveler, highlighting their transcendence of material wealth, bravery in the face of danger, and extensive life experiences. They praise the traveler's sincere heroism and conviction. Suddenly, the speaker notices something and asks the traveler not to move, causing concern. They explain that fragments of souls from the Night Kingdom were still attached to the traveler, which they proceed to clear away. The speaker explains that the soul fragments, if left unattended, could cause mental chaos and mood deterioration. They then discuss a proposal involving the Lord of the Night, explaining that this entity's approval is necessary for granting an ancient name to an outsider. The Lord of the Night is described as an ancient being ruling over the entire Night Kingdom, using the power of the sacred flame to combat corruption from the abyss. It's revealed that the Lord of the Night is in a deep slumber, and communication is only possible through a trance-like state or dream. The speaker mentions the need for preparation and a ceremony to achieve this trance state. They offer to make a list of required items and ask for volunteers to gather them. Plans are made to investigate Aeron's situation, with caution advised due to the dangerous nature of the Fool. The speaker shares findings from Aeron's house, including signs of a break-in and unusual weapon marks, suggesting the Fowls' involvement. They question why the Fowls would target Aeron, a young man living a simple life in the countryside. The speaker expresses determination to uncover the truth and rescue Aeron, apologizing for the trouble caused and requesting help in the mission. The group arrives at the location where Aeron was last seen with Fowl soldiers. The speaker, likely Quechee, defends Aeron's character and suggests he was coerced or interrogated rather than willingly involved with the Fowl. Aeron's background is revealed. He was an orphan raised by the tribe who grew up to live independently, farming and raising aphids. The speaker fondly remembers Aeron's generosity in sharing his produce. The search for Aeron continues, with the group following a trail left by disturbed fiston aphids. The speaker uses a spell to temporarily share their enhanced senses with the others, allowing them to perceive the trail. They note the traveler's strong affinity for fiston, describing it as an extraordinary gift. The group proceeds to track Aeron using this newfound vision. The speaker, likely an elderly shaman, reflects on their communication style, wondering if they're successfully adopting youth language and appearing trendy. They express concern about potentially coming across as old-fashioned despite their efforts. The speaker then hears a familiar voice, possibly Sel's, and expresses gratitude for finding helpers, noting that some tasks are best accomplished with friends. The group discovers a campsite and a distress signal recognizable only to the Masters of the Night Wind, confirming Aeron was under threat. The speaker emphasizes the need for caution to avoid harming Aeron in any rescue attempt. They detect signs of a struggle and mixed elemental traces, suggesting a complex situation. The group decides to split up to follow two separate trails, planning to reconvene later. The narrative shifts, revealing that the group can hear the elderly shaman's thoughts. They discuss this unexpected side effect of the spell, noting the contrast between the shaman's lively inner world and their initial impression. The search continues, but the trail suddenly stops, leaving them puzzled about Aeron's whereabouts. The traveler perceives sounds of wind from beneath the earth, hinting at a hidden development. A new voice interjects, apologizing and asking the group not to move. The speaker identifies himself as Aeron, the person they've been searching for. He reveals that the situation is not as it seemed. He wasn't coerced by the fall, but rather left false traces to lure the group. Aeron explains that this deception was the fastest way to arrange a meeting. Another voice warns that the traveler's soul is restrained and fragile in its current state. A mysterious figure known as Archon advises the listener to be cautious about blindly following someone's plan. They suggest meeting to the east of the stadium for intel, emphasizing the importance of secrecy to avoid conflict and protect Granny. The scene then shifts to concern over the listener's sudden collapse, with companions worried about potential after-effects from the Night Kingdom. Companions express concern over the listener's sudden collapse, speculating about potential supernatural causes from the Night Kingdom. They offer to take a break and suggest that one of them, Sely, could help with any lingering supernatural effects. The importance of not overexerting oneself while traveling is emphasized, and they encourage the listener to speak up if feeling unwell. The group prepares to continue their journey after the listener recovers. They mention following a trail to a stronghold where Aeron is likely held captive. The speaker emphasizes their partnership, likening it to the inseparable nature of wind and clouds. They approach the camp where Aeron is believed to be held, observing his peculiar behavior and philosophical musings. The group encounters Ororon, who is speaking cryptically. One companion, Sel, becomes irritated and struggles to control her temper. They prepare to intervene, counting down before taking action. Upon approaching, they find Ororon addressing someone as Granny, which leads to a humorous misunderstanding about age and appropriate terms of address for elders. A discussion ensues about Ororon's habit of addressing older individuals as elders, stemming from his upbringing by the Masters of the Night Wind. This leads to a scolding from Granny about ignoring warnings and getting into trouble. Aeron admits to helping a captain escape after a battle with the Pyro Archon, explaining he did so under pressure and to protect Granny. The conversation continues with Granny reprimanding Aeron for his naivety in believing the Fui's threats. She explains that the Pyro Archon is aware of the situation but hasn't issued a warrant for Aeron. They discuss submitting evidence of Aeron's innocence and plan to return to the city to explain everything to the authorities. Aeron is instructed to reflect on his actions and prepare to face potential consequences. The scene shifts to a private conversation about the captain's unexpected appearance in the Night Kingdom. Suspicions arise about Aeron's true intentions and his involvement with the Fui. The group decides to proceed cautiously, maintaining their original plans while remaining alert to potential deceptions. A mysterious figure reappears, apologizing for startling the group. They reveal knowledge of the Pyro Archon's plan to defeat the Abyss and save Natlan, which requires 2 more heroes. The figure criticizes this plan as risky and suggests the existence of a hidden emergency plan that the Pyro Archon is reluctant to implement due to its painful cost. As the mysterious figure continues to explain their alternative plan to save Natlan, they are interrupted by the arrival of Granny, Sel. She confronts the group about their secret meeting and questions Aeron's involvement with the Fui. The tense confrontation escalates, with Sel threatening to teach Aeron a lesson for his perceived betrayal and deceit. The traveler intervenes on Aeron's behalf, convincing the captain to postpone scolding him. The group decides to return to the city to discuss the situation further, with 2 individuals assigned to keep an eye on Aeron. Granny expresses frustration with Aeron's behavior, questioning his motives for helping the captain and urging him to consider the consequences of his actions. She attempts to understand Aeron's perspective, encouraging him to open up about any concerns he may have. Granny continues to press Aeron for answers, emphasizing the potential trouble his actions could bring to the tribe. She reminds him of his typically good behavior and expresses confusion over his recent choices. The conversation is momentarily interrupted when Aeron appears to stare at the group, prompting an apology from someone for overhearing the scolding. Granny becomes irritated when she perceives the group to be gossiping instead of listening to her, leading to further reprimands. Aeron employs a clever trick using plant spore powder to create an illusion, allowing him to seemingly disappear. This ability, which he has perfected over time, enables him to appear far away despite being physically present. Granny expresses frustration at Aeron's escape tactic and threatens more severe consequences in their next encounter. The group ponders why Aeron feels the need to run if his goal is also to protect Natlan, suggesting a potential for collaboration. As the group prepares for the long walk back to the city, they decide to take their time and find a place to eat and discuss the situation further. Granny offers to treat them to food and drinks, leading to a light-hearted exchange about who will cover the bill. The conversation touches on Granny's self-perception and her desire to show that she's not completely useless, despite her age. The group arrives at a dining establishment where Granny is recognized as a regular. The proprietor, Chunka, expresses surprise at seeing Granny with new friends, revealing her status as one of the most famous members of the Masters of the Night Wind. Granny's reputation is discussed, with Chunka mentioning that she rarely brings new acquaintances. The conversation highlights Granny's prominence within her community and the rarity of her socializing with newcomers. Granny begins to show signs of intoxication, addressing imaginary individuals and recounting past confrontations. She defends herself against perceived accusations of being a monster or a lazy slacker, listing her various responsibilities including meditation, advising the chief, and mentoring new members of the tribe. Her behavior becomes increasingly erratic, culminating in her falling into a meditative state with her eyes open, a unique ability she possesses. Granny takes the group for a walk to a beautiful location where she opens up about her feelings and past. She discusses her reputation within the tribe as an eccentric and powerful figure, acknowledging that her consistently superior performance has made it difficult for others to relate to her. Granny expresses appreciation for the group's lack of fear towards her, attributing it to their outsider status and lack of preconceptions about her legendary status. Granny reveals the truth about Aeron's background. He was abandoned as a child due to having an incomplete soul, which the Masters of the Night Wind viewed as a bad omen. Aeron's unique condition led to a plan to use him as a vessel for lost souls. The ceremony would involve gathering lost souls within Aeron and sending him to the Night Kingdom to return these souls, thereby strengthening the Laylines. This revelation provides crucial context for understanding Aeron's situation and the complexity surrounding his role in the community. The Night Kingdom faces a crisis as souls held within disperse when damage occurs, unable to return to the L-lines. This loss of souls further damages the Night Kingdom. A ceremony was proposed that could send back countless souls at once, benefiting both the Night Kingdom and the souls, but it would require sacrificing the vessel Aeron. The L-lines were already in a terrible state, so when a suitable candidate appeared, the chief decided to proceed with the ceremony despite some hesitation. The ceremony ultimately failed, and Aeron escaped with his life. There is reflection on the ethics of potentially sacrificing a newborn and using a human life as a tool. While death is not typically feared in their tribe, the message it would send was concerning. When the ceremony failed, there was a mix of shame for inaction and relief at the result. The plan was never a secret, and a simple investigation would reveal everything to Aeron. Despite surviving, Aeron still felt guilty and wondered if Natlan could have been saved if the ceremony succeeded. Aeron has a strong ability to perceive souls and understands the dire situation with the L-lines. It's speculated that he may have chosen to work with the Fall because he still feels indebted to Natlan. There's a need to convince Aeron to return. The conversation shifts to personal matters, with one character feeling the effects of drinking too much. There's gratitude expressed for help received and an affirmation of friendship. The situation escalates as the Abyss attacks multiple locations, including the Collective of Plenty, the Masters of the Night Wind, the Children of Echo, and various camps and outposts. While the tribes have defenses, adventurers and merchants in the wild are at risk. Characters discuss plans to help different areas, with some heading to the Collective of Plenty and others to the Children of Ecos. There's a mix of concern and determination as they prepare to face the threat. A controversial plan involving the Nosis is revealed. It could potentially save Natlan, but at a great cost, draining all souls and memories from the Night Kingdom to create a protective net around the Laylines. This method would effectively erase their history and culture. Even then, the net could become corroded if the damaged Laylines aren't repaired in time. Given the enormous price, it's a solution currently refused. There's curiosity about how the captain learned of this well-kept secret and what alternative solution he might have found. The Pyro Archon, now referred to as Mucka by friends, plans to personally join the fight against the Abyss. Despite giving up godly powers, Mucka remains a skilled warrior. There's discussion about the long-term challenges facing Natlan, including the possibility of evacuation and the need to disclose the true nature of the crisis to the people. The focus then shifts to immediate action, with characters heading out to join the fight and rescue those in danger. The rescue efforts continue, with a trapped caravan being saved. The last abyssal pylon near the Children of Ecos is destroyed. There's reflection on the intensity of the attacks and the swift response from warriors. Despite the successes, there's an underlying anxiety about the worsening situation in the Night Kingdom. The secrecy surrounding the crisis is becoming harder to maintain as more people sense something is wrong. The captain discovers a potential solution to save Natlan, but the Pyro Archon refuses to use it, citing high costs. The Pyro Archon's sincerity and past actions demonstrate her commitment to valuing individual lives. However, as an Archon, she must balance priorities between life, history, and memory. The group speculates on why the Pyro Archon is unaware of the captain's proposed solution, highlighting the need for more information about the Fatui's activities. The group plans to gather more information about the Fatui. They express regret over not being able to prevent injuries to potential allies. The conversation shifts to planning a celebration once their mission is complete. M informs them that Chasa and Quechee have returned from a mission where they encountered the Fatui. The Fatui were observed protecting a group of travelers from Natlan, raising questions about their true intentions. The Fatui's actions in helping travelers without ulterior motives challenge previous assumptions about their intentions. The group decides to follow the Fatui to gather more information. They discover a heavily guarded Fatui hideout, which Quechee insists on infiltrating despite the risks. After some debate, Quechee and Chasa agree to work together to infiltrate the hideout, using their tribal skills and coordinated signals. Quechee and Chasa successfully infiltrate the Fatui hideout, overcoming various obstacles and guards. They discover that the Fatui are searching for an ancient dragon relic called the Source Mechanism. The device's purpose is unknown, even to Natlanders. The Fatui seem to be collecting multiple identical pieces of this mechanism. During their observation, Quechee and Chasa are spotted and forced to flee, with Quechee sustaining an injury in the process. Upon returning, Quechee and Chasa report their findings to the group. The Pyro Archon tasks Chiori with gathering scholars knowledgeable about the source mechanism. Quechee is advised to rest, and the group discusses the gifts received from grateful patients. The conversation turns to Quechee's tendency to overwork herself and her sister's concern for her well-being. Despite their differences, the sisters acknowledge their similarities and familial bond. As Quechee and Chasa prepare to leave, the group reflects on the information gathered. They begin to review their current knowledge about the Fatui and the source mechanism. The scene ends with an interruption from an unidentified individual who apologizes for the intrusion and offers to treat the group to charcoal-grilled food, hinting at potential new developments or information to be shared. A group discusses Ororon's return to assist the Masters of the Night Wind in defending their camp. Despite attempts to dissuade him, Ororon remains committed to his mission, citing a duty to both his tribe and Natlan as a whole. The speaker expresses regret at being unable to prevent Ororon's actions, reflecting on his childhood within the tribe. The conversation reveals that Ororon's soul is fragmented, requiring a special talisman with a gem for stability. The speaker explains a clever plan to obtain Ororon's memories. They placed a new gem in a supply bag delivered by Effa, a trusted friend. When Ororon touched the bag, a portion of his memories was copied onto the old gem. This technique, described as subtle and undetectable, provides a backup of Ororon's memories. The group expresses excitement about using this information to track Ororon down. The speaker, despite feeling conflicted, believes this action is necessary to protect Ororon, even if it results in his resentment. The group prepares to delve into Ororon's memories. The scene shifts to a conversation between Ororon and Uncle Oconee. They discuss gardening and local happenings, including the arrival of a group called the Tui. Oconee warns Ororon about their presence and their search for someone. The leader of the Tui, referred to as a big deal, arrives seeking information about Citlali. Ororon attempts to deflect the inquiry, but becomes intrigued by the Tui's purpose. Ororon follows the Tui leader, observing his interactions and unusual abilities. The leader demonstrates the power to manipulate souls and Laylines, raising questions about his intentions. The Tui appear to be preparing for a potential conflict with the Abyss. Ororon's curiosity grows as he witnesses the leader entering a stadium where the Pyro Archon is present. An intense confrontation ensues between the leader and the Pyro Archon, with Ororon sensing a disturbance in the souls. Ororon intervenes in the battle between the Tai leader and the Pyro Archon. The leader, surprised by Ororon's actions, engages in a conversation about their motives. Ororon explains his ability to sense weaknesses in the Laylines and his doubts about the Pyro Archon's plans. The leader reveals his interest in Citlali, also known as Granny Eatly, due to her connection with the Night Kingdom. Despite initial mistrust, they begin to form an alliance based on their shared goal of improving Natlan. The memory sequence concludes, returning to the present where the Traveler and Paimon are processing the information. The speaker expresses frustration with Ororon's persistence in pursuing his goals, despite the potential consequences. They criticize his sense of obligation to those who cared for him in the past, viewing his actions as stubborn and self-righteous. The conversation begins with frustration over someone's stubbornness, comparing it to a grandmother's. The discussion then shifts to the captain's plans to reconstruct the Laylines, which is likened to the Loom of Fate from Canria. This revelation indicates the captain has been honest from the beginning, as evidenced by Ororon's memory. The implications of manipulating the Laylines are significant, affecting everyone in the land. The group discusses the captain's obsession with saving Natlan and the need to inform Moa about their discoveries. Moa arrives with news of locating the captain. The group explains their findings from Ororon's memories, revealing the captain's search for a mechanism to reconstruct the Laylines. This plan, if already in motion, poses a significant threat. Reconstructing the Laylines is not a simple fix and would require sacrificing nearly everything within the current Laylines, similar to using a Nosis. The group discusses their limited forces against the captain's side. Sel is sent to defend the tribe. Moa proposes a plan focusing on destroying the source mechanism rather than directly confronting the captain. The strategy involves a frontal assault to distract the Fatui forces while a smaller team infiltrates to destroy the device. Quechee and How are assigned to lead the frontal assault, while Xilonen is tasked with digging a tunnel for the infiltration team. The team proceeds with their plan, approaching the Fatui guarded area. They identify a suitable infiltration point and prepare to engage. Inside, they encounter the captain and the activated device. A strange sound, described as a piercing cry, emanates from underground. The team attempts to turn off the device but is interrupted by Ororon, who displays unexpectedly enhanced combat abilities. It becomes apparent that Ororon is not himself, with a different entity inhabiting his body. This entity, addressing the captain as commander, urges him to complete his mission. The captain expresses surprise at the entity's presence, but disagrees with abandoning comrades. The entity reveals that Ororon's soul has been incomplete from the start, explaining his proximity to death. The narrative shifts to Ororon's memories, featuring conversations with his grandmother. These memories explore themes of purpose, expectations, and the concept of being a savior. His grandmother advises him to live life on his own terms, regardless of others' expectations. The memories also touch on the challenges of possessing great power and the fear it can instill in others. Further memories reveal conversations about finding purpose in life, with a friend named Effa suggesting that most people live without a special calling. The entity within Ororon taunts him about his weakness and the futility of his desire to be a savior. Ororon struggles with feelings of uselessness and the fear of dying without accomplishing anything significant. In a critical moment, Ororon refuses to give up, fighting against the entity trying to take control of his body. He hears a voice urging him to control his mind and feel grounded. Ororon manages to regain control, surprising those around him. The captain's actions are briefly questioned, suggesting he may have been trying to help Ororon all along. A character reflects on their past, questioning their purpose and the expectations placed upon them from birth. They express a desire to find meaning and make amends for past failures. Another character responds, revealing that the answer lies before them and that they are the inheritor of an ancient heroic legacy. The dialogue explores themes of self-discovery, sacrifice, and the nature of heroism. The conversation continues, delving into the concept of identity and how it can take a lifetime to truly understand oneself. The speaker shares their own journey from self-absorption to heroic sacrifice. They explain the meaning of an ancient name, BD, which symbolizes devotion and nobility. The dialogue emphasizes the importance of finding one's purpose and dedicating oneself fully to it, not for the sake of a heroic death, but to prove one's worth through devotion and justice. The scene shifts to a celebration honoring an omniscient man who has foretold his own death. The gathering raises a toast to his heroism. The narrative then introduces a fifth hero of the current era, marking a significant advancement in an ongoing plan. A mysterious voice is heard, identified as the Lord of the Night, ruler of the Night Kingdom. This entity explains its nature as a presider over a realm of souls, limited in power and reliant on sleep for extended existence. The Lord of the Night elaborates on recent events, explaining how its awakening caused a disruptive cry that nearly shattered a character's soul. It praises the human's resilience in overcoming this obstacle. The conversation reveals that another soul was affected, attempting to take refuge in the damaged soul, but ultimately being expelled. The origins of this mysterious soul remain unknown, adding an element of intrigue to the unfolding events. The dialogue explores the history of the Night Kingdom and its creation. It is revealed that the Lord of the Night constructed the kingdom's Laylines as a response to a catastrophic ancient battle between the Descender and dragons. This conflict damaged the world, allowing the Abyss to invade. The Night Kingdom was born from the fragments of old Laylines, strengthened by the first Pyro Archon Xilonen, who established rules to aid in the fight against the Abyss. The conversation delves deeper into the history and nature of the Laylines. It is explained that ancient dragons attempted to strengthen the Laylines using a device, but their method was ineffective due to lack of skill. The Lord of the Night, revealed to be an angel in its original form, absorbed the power generated by the device. This absorption allows it to communicate and potentially rebuild the Laylines, though at the cost of its own existence. The Lord of the Night offers to sacrifice itself to reconstruct the Laylines for the sake of humanity's survival against the Abyss. However, this offer is rejected due to the severe consequences it would have on the people of Natlan, including memory loss and cognitive issues. The dialogue explores the tension between immediate survival and long-term sustainability, touching on themes of sacrifice, responsibility, and the preservation of cultural memory and identity. The conversation intensifies as characters debate the best course of action for humanity's survival. One character, a survivor of a catastrophic event, argues for drastic measures to ensure immediate survival. Another character counters, emphasizing the importance of preserving memories, history, and identity. The dialogue touches on themes of trauma, the weight of past experiences, and the difficult choices faced in times of crisis. The debate continues, with characters discussing the value of memories and history in shaping identity and civilization. One perspective argues for trust in humanity's ability to create a new future, even if memories are lost. The opposing view emphasizes the risk of history repeating itself without the knowledge of past mistakes. A character then shares their personal experience of finding renewed purpose and the importance of remembering the care and support received from others. The dialogue shifts to a more hopeful tone, with characters affirming their determination to find a path forward without sacrificing their identities and memories. They acknowledge the sacrifices of past heroes and see them as blessings rather than burdens. The Lord of the Night expresses admiration for humanity's resilience and offers ongoing support. The conversation concludes with a commitment to continue fighting against the Abyss, seeking a solution that preserves both the land and its people. The dialogue wraps up with plans to inform others about the current situation. The Lord of the Night offers the aid of the Fatui under its command. Despite differing views on protection and survival, the characters agree to fight together. The conversation then transitions to a question and answer session with the Lord of the Night, covering topics such as the identity of certain powerful beings, the nature of Laylines, and the concept of Fiston as a primordial form of energy. The Lord of the Night continues to answer questions, touching on subjects like elemental energy and its relation to Fiston. The dialogue also mentions ongoing plans involving various factions and individuals. The conversation concludes with a formal welcome to the Fatui and a decision regarding Ororon, choosing to give him a chance to prove himself rather than punishing him for past actions. A significant meeting takes place between previously opposing parties, resulting in an unexpectedly favorable outcome. The discussion reveals how the source mechanism was discovered through collaborative efforts involving scholars from Natlan. This discovery provides an alternative to using the Nosis, potentially buying more time to address the current crisis. However, the new plan comes with a heavy cost, making everyone forget their past. The group agrees this should be avoided if possible. The conversation shifts to the origins of knowledge about the Nosis, tracing back to the Cataclysm 500 years ago. A key figure recounts fleeing to Natlan after failing to save Kona, only to find Natlan facing a similar tragedy. During this time, they met Aizu, the chief of the Masters of the Night Wind, who showed kindness and support. This encounter led to a commitment to aid Natlan in battle, fighting alongside Aizu through many hardships. In his final moments, Aizu revealed the secret of the Nosis. The discussion touches on the effects of immortality and physical changes over time. A connection is made to a character named Danith, who seems to have better preserved his appearance. The speaker, revealed to be connected to the Princess of Kona, expresses reluctance to harm her brother. The conversation then turns to a recent battle, with both participants admitting they were not fighting at full strength, suggesting an even match if they were to face off again. The concept of harbingers is introduced, explaining that they have the freedom to pursue their own goals, which can sometimes take precedence over orders from their sovereign. The speaker's primary motive for seeking the Nosis was to save Natlan. The discussion then shifts to the power of the 6 heroes when united, revealing it as a one-time use ability granted by Renova, an ancient god predating the Archons. Renova is described as an emissary of the heavenly principles, controlling the power of death. The conversation delves into the risks and potential rewards of harnessing Renova's power. Unlike other abilities, the amount of power inherited doesn't change based on one's ability to tolerate it, making it potentially fatal. However, those who survive gain unprecedented strength, surpassing that of any Archon. The group acknowledges the risks, but sees them as necessary given the bravery shown by others in facing the abyssal contamination. They prepare for increased attacks from the abyss, which may sense the recent changes. The scene shifts to a different location where there are issues with defective weapons and shields. The pressure of the situation has led to compromises in quality, which cannot be tolerated given their importance for survival. The characters are advised to rest to avoid making similar mistakes due to exhaustion. The conversation hints at recent significant events that occurred in a ruin, which will be discussed at a later time. An intense confrontation occurs between a grandmother figure and her grandson. The grandmother reprimands him for his reckless actions, including becoming a wanted criminal and his risky behavior in an ancient ruin. The grandson apologizes and explains his motivations, expressing a desire to help Natlan despite the trouble he caused. The grandmother reveals she tampered with a bag to copy a portion of his memories. She then informs him that the Pyro Archon has discussed his case, and while he will face consequences, his efforts weren't entirely in vain. The scene transitions to a meeting with the Lord of the Night. The characters seek to forge a new ancient name for the Traveler, which poses a challenge as the Traveler is not from Natlan. The process of forging an ancient name is explained as an act of creation that consumes the life of the craftsman. It involves condensing disparate concepts into a heroic epic, with the craftsman's life serving as protection until the new concept is integrated into the realm. Despite the difficulties and personal cost, the characters express their belief that forging this name for the Traveler is worthwhile. The situation is dire, with an impending disaster threatening Natlan. There is a willingness to make great sacrifices, even giving up one's life, to ensure a future for the people. The speaker, bearing the name Baraka, sees this as part of their duty. Despite the slim chances of success, there is a determination to seize this final opportunity for victory. An anxiety is mentioned, stemming from something previously unseen. Concerns are raised about Ma's plan, which requires significant time and carries risks. A taboo ceremony by the Masters of the Night Wind was used to glimpse the future of the Pyro Archon. The vision revealed death as a key component of Ma's plan. The 6 heroes are meant to release power obtained from the ruler of death, but using this power comes at the cost of one's life. It is predicted that Ma will die in the war against the Abyss. A distinction is made between fate and death. While fate predetermines future events, death is a rule governed by its own power. The ruler of death's power will allow Ma to triumph over the Abyss, but at the cost of her life. The exact timing of death may be influenced by fate, but its occurrence is guaranteed. There is hope that the Traveler, with their unique abilities as a descender, might be able to alter the timing of Ma's death, though not the outcome itself. It is revealed that Ma is aware of her fate and has likely accepted it. Her strength and determination are praised, with hope placed in the Traveler's similar qualities to overcome the impossible. The speaker, nearing the end of their time, expresses honor in witnessing humanity's determination. While grateful for the offer to find a way to extend their life, they view it as ultimately meaningless given the grand scale of time and existence. The fundamental difference between the speaker and humans is highlighted. Humans will fight for survival even in the face of imminent doom. This quality is admired and reinforces the speaker's commitment to their mandate. A gift is presented to the traveler, capable of recording experiences in Natlan, both past and future. This will allow the forging of an ancient name and immortalize the traveler as a hero in Natlan's memory. The gift from the Lord of the Night is further explained. It's a device that can record the traveler's deeds in Natlan, allowing for the creation of an ancient name. The gift is described as lightweight, convenient, and reflective of the Lord of the Night's will. It's emphasized that accepting the gift shouldn't cause guilt, as aiding humanity is part of the Lord of the Night's mandate. The situation in Natlan has worsened, with increased frequency and scale of abyssal attacks. These attacks are targeting not just the stadium area, but even remote regions. This escalation is seen as a sign of the Abyss's desperation, knowing that only one hero is missing from the opposition. The current focus is on protecting civilians and conserving manpower. Various characters are assigned to different areas to provide aid and reinforcements. The battle against the Abyss continues, with various areas needing assistance. A system of messengers from the Scions of the Canopy is in place to provide up-to-date battle reports. The characters are faced with decisions on where to provide aid next, balancing between immediate rescue efforts and the importance of medical supplies. The situation remains tense, with constant threats of monster attacks. Evacuation efforts are underway, complicated by the presence of wounded individuals. Plans are made to escort groups to safety while calling for reinforcements. A personal encounter occurs with a doctor who is the parent of Tapos, showcasing the human element amidst the chaos. The doctor agrees to seek shelter after delivering a message to their son. The Pyro Archon's command structure is now in effect, with various groups following orders to ensure safety. The stadium is identified as the center of defensive efforts, with people from all over Nanan heading there for protection. Despite the dangerous situation, some individuals still prioritize their duties, such as delivering essential potions to those in need. The situation remains tense, with resources and manpower stretched thin. There's an underlying fear of things worsening, though some maintain confidence. The importance of individual lives is emphasized, with encouragement to stay alive and the notion that each person's life holds great significance. A chaotic situation unfolds as an abyss emerges, presenting a significant threat. The Sacred Flame Archon is responding to the crisis. The gravity of the situation is evident, causing concern even for typically composed characters. A disaster is occurring, prompting urgent action. A devastating scene is discovered with numerous casualties. Survivors recount how abyss monsters appeared and transformed, leading to a fierce battle. The remaining survivors are urged to seek safety at a stadium. There's a sense of grief and shock, but also a determination to press on and help others. The situation appears dire, with the abyss expected to attack again imminently. In a display of courage, civilians volunteer to join the fight, despite their lack of combat experience. They request equipment, determined not to let the sacrifices of fallen warriors be in vain. This unexpected support boosts morale and allows the main characters to focus on other critical tasks. The civilians' bravery is commended, and they are provided with some equipment to aid in the defense efforts. The battle intensifies as enemy attacks grow stronger with each wave. A decision is made to abandon a base and regroup elsewhere. Warriors are given the choice to continue fighting or seek safety at the stadium. Despite the grim outlook, many choose to keep fighting, inspired by their fallen comrades and unwilling to concede to the abyss. They decide to join forces with the Children of Ecos, hoping to strengthen their ranks. A dangerous substance is raining down from the abyss, further complicating the situation. The team decides to investigate affected areas, prioritizing zones where defenses have been weakened. They encounter a new, seemingly invulnerable threat that can spawn endless streams of abyss monsters. This development forces a strategic retreat towards the stadium, where the sacred flame offers a glimmer of hope against the overwhelming abyss forces. The relentless fighting takes its toll on the characters, who are urged to take a brief respite. However, new information prompts them to press on. They arrive in time to assist another group facing a dire situation. The scope of the disaster becomes increasingly apparent, with some struggling to cope with the traumatic experiences. Despite the bleakness, there's a resolute determination not to give up as long as a sliver of hope remains. The situation continues to deteriorate, with the heart of the Abyss joining the invasion. This presents an unprecedented challenge that seems insurmountable. While the spirit of the people remains unbroken, the fragility of life in the face of such power is acknowledged. The characters push themselves to their limits, recognizing the crucial nature of their efforts in this desperate time. A poignant moment unfolds between siblings Quechee and Chessa. Their dialogue reveals a complex family dynamic, with Chessa reflecting on her past attitudes and treatment of her adopted sister. Quechee, despite her struggles with abyssal energy, expresses gratitude for her family's love and support. The conversation highlights themes of acceptance, understanding, and the challenges of dealing with differences within a family. A dramatic turn of events occurs as abyssal energy manifests around Chessa, only to disappear moments later. This incident raises questions about Chessa's condition and the nature of her struggle with abyssal contamination. The scene explores themes of personal growth, overcoming adversity, and the search for meaning in the face of suffering. It culminates in a powerful moment of self-realization and transformation for Chessa. The speaker acknowledges the loss of Quechee, who sacrificed herself heroically. Despite the grief, they emphasize the need to press on and end the war. The speaker rallies everyone, urging them to ignite the spirit of victory in their minds. They express hope that no more lives will be lost and that no one else will suffer the loss of loved ones. The speech invokes imagery of sparks igniting flames, symbolizing the strength and resilience of the Natlan people, even in the face of darkness. The speech continues with poetic language, describing the eternal bonds between people and the cyclical nature of life and death. It references a hero who scaled a volcano to seize the sun, shining with the light of 1,000 stars. The speaker then shifts to describe an omniscient man who, having foretold his own death, holds a celebratory feast. This section emphasizes themes of heroism, sacrifice, and the transcendence of suffering. The speaker declares that their moment has finally come, calling for unity and acceptance of a fate of devotion. They embrace a transcendent flame and announce the start of the Night Wars. The Ode of Resurrection is invoked, promising to guard all life until the war's end. This power is described as scary, suggesting its immense strength. It's revealed that all warriors will now be able to resurrect themselves using a sacred flame, effectively eliminating casualties in the coming battle. The Pyro Archon having officially declares the Night Wars underway. The incredible power of the Ode of Resurrection is reiterated, with the speaker emphasizing that there will be no more casualties. They express determination to defeat the enemy and reclaim lost territory. The traveler is thanked for arriving in time to allow Quechee to say her final words. The speaker, likely Chaucer, reflects on their emotional state, acknowledging their inner conflict but resolving to rise above it in Quechee's spirit. Various updates on the battle are shared. Different areas and clans are reported as secure or in the process of being secured. The effectiveness of the Ode of Resurrection is highlighted, rendering the enemy's numerical advantage useless. Plans are made to gather at the stadium for the final battle against the Abyss Tumors. The scene is set for a climactic confrontation, with allies splitting up to tackle different areas and guard key positions. A victory is declared, met with celebration and relief. The scene then shifts to a gathering where the victory is officially announced. The speaker, likely the Pyro Archon, cautions that while they have won this battle, the war is not entirely over. The Abyss has been driven back but not completely destroyed. Plans for a final counterattack are mentioned, with the Archon intending to strike the enemy in their lair alone due to the lethal nature of the abyssal energy for others. The Archon asks the people to temper their ambitions and not join the final showdown, emphasizing the enormity of their current victory. Plans for a grand funeral for the fallen are announced, stressing that no hero of Natlan should be forgotten. A moment of silence is observed for those lost in the conflict. The Archon thanks the captain for his extraordinary support and congratulates everyone on their victory. A feast is announced to celebrate and rekindle spirits for future challenges. Various characters discuss the aftermath of the battle, including the state of different tribes and clans. The mood is generally positive, with plans for rebuilding already being considered. Personal growth and increased confidence in some characters are noted. The conversation touches on the different experiences of various groups during the conflict, with some facing more challenges than others. Overall, there's a sense of relief and hope for the future. The Pyro Archon reflects on the battle, expressing regret over not being quicker to potentially save Quechee. They discuss their 500-year plan nearing fruition, with only the final battle against the Abyss remaining. The temporary nature of their enhanced powers during the battle is explained. The Archon expresses hope for a period of peace, aiming to close the chapter on centuries of war with the Abyss. They invite the traveler to join in the final battle, acknowledging the danger, but valuing their extraordinary talent and sense of justice. A character named Sweet L reveals crucial information about a price that must be paid for using the Ruler of Death's power. The price is death, specifically Ma's death. Sweet L seeks help in saving Ma, believing the traveler might have a chance to defy these rules. They stress the importance of keeping this information from Ma. The conversation then shifts to lighter topics, with characters discussing drinks and future aspirations. The scene ends with a humorous exchange about becoming the next Pyro Archon. The scene opens with a demonstration of impressive marksmanship skills, likely by a young female character. The shooter's ability is praised, with the observer suggesting she could potentially become a Pyro Aeron in the future. The discussion then shifts to the acquisition of an ancient name, specifically Molo. The character with this new name invites another to join their team for a pilgrimage, hinting at some form of competition or rite of passage within their society. A competitive dialogue unfolds between two characters, with one boasting about winning an ancient name and the other determined to acquire an even better one. The name Kion Goai is mentioned as a potentially superior ancient name. The conversation then transitions to a recollection of a wrestling match where one character unexpectedly beat the other. There's anticipation about one of them becoming the Pyro Archon soon, with humorous speculation about scheduling wrestling sessions after attaining such an important position. Concerns are raised about the potential personality changes that might occur when inheriting the knowledge stored in the sacred flame upon becoming the Pyro Archon. One character expresses worry about being forgotten or the relationship changing due to new responsibilities. However, these concerns are quickly dismissed as overthinking, with reassurance that their bond will remain strong despite new roles or titles. The narrative shifts to a more serious tone, discussing rules written for the Night Kingdom to stand against the Abyss. However, these measures are deemed insufficient for facing a true catastrophe. A negotiation ensues, with one party seeking to borrow power from another, possibly a powerful entity associated with death. The entity describes the seeker as the greediest human and fiercest negotiator they've encountered. The discussion about borrowing power continues, with the entity explaining the grave consequences of wielding death's power. They emphasize that fear of death is natural, and only by conquering this fear can one truly use the power without causing harm to innocent lives. The Seeker, representing a nation determined to resist the Abyss, rejects the entity's rules, believing in the strength and growth of their people through generations. An agreement is reached, but with conditions. The entity, describing themselves as a shade with limited freedom, agrees to help but insists on secrecy. They propose to deny involvement if questioned, suggesting a cover story of power theft by treacherous Xilonen. The Seeker agrees to these terms, expressing gratitude for the arrangement. The scene changes to a discussion about wiping out the Abyss. Progress on acquiring an ancient name is mentioned, with surprise expressed at receiving help from an unexpected source. The conversation reveals that the Abyss has retreated to the depths of the Night Kingdom, an area corrupted by abyssal energy. The speaker emphasizes the need to eliminate this threat and restore the Laylines to prevent future battles. The speaker expresses a desire to break the cycle of struggle against darkness that Natlan has endured for thousands of years. They mention using the sacred flame for protection against abyssal corruption and request help from someone else who can resist it. The importance of forging an ancient name is stressed, as it would allow the speaker to have assistance in their mission rather than going alone. The conversation touches on the limitations of the OD of resurrection, but assures its reliability for a specific individual. The topic then shifts to concerns about a character named Pawn and their role in the upcoming mission. The speaker explains that separating Pawn from the group is necessary due to the devious nature of the Abyss, which might target Pawn to create an impossible situation. Pawn expresses fear at the prospect of separation. The speaker acknowledges the magnitude of what they're asking and offers time for consideration. They emphasize the historical significance of the final battle against the Abyss, promising that participants will be remembered and revered far into the future. The speaker then opens the floor for any additional questions. The rebuilding efforts in Natlan are discussed, with people joining forces to erase traces of war damage. However, the emotional healing process is acknowledged as a greater challenge. The speaker stresses the importance of remembering the sacrifices made while moving forward and believing in the future. They continue to invite questions from their audience. The concept of a false sky is introduced, with the speaker mentioning it as the first proof of its existence. They suggest further investigation is needed to understand the fragments behind the sky and their purpose. It's noted that this phenomenon seems unique to their nation, potentially kept secret by the heavenly principles. The speaker expresses hope that this discovery won't cause trouble. The speaker reveals their public explanation for the sky phenomenon as an astronomical anomaly to avoid backlash. They propose a measured approach to investigating the matter further. The conversation then shifts to a discussion about souls and ancient names, explaining that what was seen were not actual souls but snapshots in time created by ancient name engravers 500 years ago. The speaker addresses concerns about an alliance, acknowledging that saving Natlan may not be the allies' only goal. However, they express respect for this ally based on past interactions and their background, believing there are no ill intentions. The focus is redirected to the upcoming final battle. The narrative introduces an outlander returning alone with deep ties to the land. It's revealed that the Pyro Archon used power from the ruler of death to fight the Abyss, which typically demands death in return. The speaker, identifying themselves as having a final battle to fight and a final foe to face, requests help for the sake of lost souls and Natlan's future.